Welcome to the Empowered Money Girl, where we break down the barriers to financial confidence and celebrate women's wins and reveal the secrets to living boldly and well. I'm your host, Josette Mandela. Today's guest, Annette Garsteck, is here to show us how to take control of our careers and get noticed in a crowded job market. As an International Association of Career Coaches credentialed senior professional career coach and senior professional resume writer, Annette has become a trusted and visible resource in the career development space. She is also the author of Own Your Career, Take Control, and Accelerate Your Professional Growth, and is recognized as a top career management voice, having been featured in Success Magazine, BBC, Fast Company, and more. Having spent 2 decades in corporate America, Annette often calls on her background as a hiring manager and leader in Fortune 50 and world-class healthcare firms in her work with clients. Her unique vantage point from her past work life provides an insider's playbook for job seekers looking to get noticed and hired. Please welcome the insightful, accomplished, and game-changing Annette Garsteck.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me, Josette. I'm so excited for our conversation.
Thank you for coming. And so can you kind of take us back to the beginning? How did you get on the path where you are today?
Oh goodness. Let's go far back. I had probably not a traditional career path as people would think about it. I ended up quitting college full time to work full time and then pursuing my college degree part time. It was nothing like any of my other colleagues were doing at the time, but I leveraged my tuition assistance plan to finish my degree. So I was able to do that, pay off my college debt very early, and then pursue my education, although non-traditionally, without the burden of too much debt being carried at the time. So that was an amazing change that I made. I don't want to say it was a choice. It was something that was sort of thrust upon me, and I just made the decision to do it that way. And what I loved most about working in corporate America was working with other people and helping them get further in their careers. So when I was promoted fairly early in my career, I want to say like the first 3 years or so that I was working professionally, I was not one of those managers, and you know those kind of managers I'm talking about that were like, you have to stay on my team because you do good work. When people would do good work and they'd say, I have dreams, I have goals beyond what I'm doing right now, I would say, amazing, let's talk about them. Let's help get you there. Let's make sure this work you're doing now prepares you for those goals. I didn't know at the time that was an unusual way of being, but it helped me develop a reputation as a leader, and it helped my team members obviously get out from entry level work and get moving towards a career path that they had interest in. Um, and I did that for many years at many companies, successful projects, successful launches, just getting things done. And what was amazing about it was then when I decided I had seen everything, or I wasn't going to continue on the corporate career path. When I left corporate America, then I got to pull on those pieces of the job I loved, which was helping people go further, and turn that into my passion project, which is now working with primarily women as they move through career challenges, career transitions, career pivots, and get closer to their career dreams, whatever those are.
That is amazing. And you're absolutely correct. Having worked 20 years in corporate myself, I certainly had my share of those bosses that are like, "Oh my God, you're so good at what you do. Yeah, I can't lose you." And then my career ended up being you know, 3 years at this company, 5 years at that company, because I just couldn't progress
Yeah.
where I was. And And there were a few companies where I would have loved to stay, but like you say, it was so hard in a lot of those companies. And yeah, to have a boss like you that could kind of suggest, wait, hey, maybe you should take this position over here or move over there, and do it with saying, yes, please do it, not, oh no, I don't want to lose you. You're too good at what you do. That
Yeah, that ultimately hurts people's chances. And it certainly doesn't empower women to take control of their circumstances. It doesn't empower them to take control of the opportunities. And as you know, in corporate America, with additional opportunities usually comes additional compensation. And
mhm,
so it was disheartening when other women leaders would keep other women stuck and therefore contributing to like the gender pay gap. And I'm not sure people thought these things out. I don't think we have a bunch of people sitting there being really cruel about it, but I do think that they haven't thought about how you can contribute to other success. And keeping somebody good on your team is great, but for how long? How long can they stay engaged doing the same things over and over and over again? And then at what point does that turn into mistrust because they see their peers or they see others moving around, getting new jobs, new opportunities, bigger projects, bigger exposures. And then they're like, ugh, my boss isn't doing that for me.
mhm,
And then they're going to leave altogether. So you can keep the talent in house, right? And grow
yep.
along with that person, or you can watch them leave and then never get to work with them again.
So what was kind of a defining moment for you when you decided to make that move?
Mm.
Did something specific happen or
Yeah, something specific did happen. So it was shortly after I was promoted. I was in my early career a customer service sales representative. I worked in a call center and I got promoted to a training manager. And I was so excited. It was so amazing. I have a full classroom of new hires that I'm working with, about I think it was about 15 people. And about 3 weeks into my promotion, I get a buyout offer, which I didn't know. I was very inexperienced, but I didn't know that was a common thing to do. All salaried people got them. But I was devastated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got here. I want to grow with this company. I want to do something amazing. I want to make a huge impact. And they're telling me I can leave tomorrow for a $5,000 severance package. And then the wheels started turning, and I'm like, oh, it isn't about loyalty. It's not like my parents told me, where I'd get
Mhm,
a job, I'd have a great job, I'd keep it for 25, 30 years, and then I'd retire. It's not going to be like that for me. So that was my first awareness that what I had been told was different or shifted or wasn't available any longer. I don't know which one of those was true, maybe all of them.
mm,
And that's when I decided that I had to figure out what was best for me and not take into consideration other people's feelings or my boss's thoughts. I had to do what I thought was best and move forward in that manner. So that's what helped me make the decision that being loyal to my employer, like my baby boomer parents were, was probably not going to be my path.
yeah, and I agree. I also grew up in that environment where you find a good job, you get a pension, and
Whoa.
you stay 30 years, and at the end they give you the gold watch, and you know right off into the sunset with this wonderful income coming in. And yeah, I'm not even sure that 5% of the companies today have pensions anymore. Everyone has moved to the 401k model, and like you say, you may feel the need to have loyalty to a company, but companies don't have loyalty to the people anymore.
No, they don't. And if you've been watching the news, companies continue to lay people off. So when bosses, usually it's individuals within companies, right? Like companies, I know the law sees them as as people, as entities, right?
Yep.
But mainly it's how representatives of the companies, individual leaders, bosses, managers treat their people. But I've heard horror stories of people going to give their 2 weeks notice and then they get walked out or they get locked out or they get
Mhm.
escorted out. And they've done the right thing, right? They thought if they turned in their 2 weeks notice, did it professionally, had a transition plan created, that they would be treated well, and they're not. And then the other part of that is when the company is making business decisions and they let people go or lay people off, there's no loyalty there. There might not be a severance package for you. There may not even be, they may not make unemployment processes easy for you either. So
Mhm.
you're correct. You don't owe the loyalty that you're never going to get back. You do owe something that will make you feel good about your transition. So if it feels good to you to give a 2 week notice, that's great. You can do that. I always prepare my clients for you do the thing that you feel is right. I just want you to be prepared that they may
Mhm.
not allow you to work those 2 weeks notice out. And they said they can do that. Sure, they can do that. So doing the right thing for however you feel that that is for you is great. I also want to prepare you for what the reality can look like from your employer's perspective.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So, so what is your feeling about people that job hop versus kind of giving companies loyalty because they recognize that they're not getting it, so why should I give it?
Agreed. So job hopping, and you and I, Josette, have the same level of experience in corporate America. Job hopping used to mean, in my opinion, this is what I've seen, people moving jobs every 2 to 3 years, right? And
Mhm.
I would say that was the definition of job hopping up until, let's say, March 2020. And we
Okay.
all remember what happened then. Most people don't even want to talk about it anymore. But after that, job hopping became almost incentivized, right? Because companies needed certain talents and skills and people that had experience with certain software. And so they'd come and steal you away, pay you the big bucks, and you took the role. So now I think job hopping would be defined as anytime you have something, an experience in an employer that's less than a year long. Maybe it's like 6 months, maybe it's 5 months, maybe it's 9 months. I think of that as job hopping. Um, but I'm also an advocate for job hopping because if you find something that's a better fit, a better match, if you get more money, if it helps you reach a goal, does it move you closer to family or friends? Is it better arrangements for your family? Do you get more flexibility? Maybe it's a hybrid role or a remote role, and that works better for you. I say go for it. And then so you have a record when you're interviewing next time, write down the circumstances that it was related to. Because in an interview, an employer wants to know that you made a solid business decision. They don't necessarily care that you job hopped. So that's what I would do. Be sure that you can tell that story to the next interviewer and that it makes sense and they can buy into that business reason that you moved a role with such a short time.
Okay. That sounds great. And so in doing all this, how would you define financial independence then if, people don't have the loyalty to the
Mhm.
company, they're kind of trying to figure out a career path, that sort of thing. So, and how do you, well, maybe you haven't achieved it yet, or have you?
Yeah, I financial independence it, defined by me means a couple of different things. So when I was working in corporate America, that meant my bills were comfortably paid. I had a little bit of disposable income that I could do the things that I wanted to do. And then I was also socking away and saving for my future self. And that was my retirement self. That's how I would have defined her when I was in corporate America. So things that I did to make sure I had that cushion and that financial independence was I always participated in my corporation's 401k. I always maxed out the contribution so that my employer would contribute the most to me. And then back to job hopping, let's talk about that. If you are moving quickly to different companies, then are you maxing out your 401k match and the time that you're vested? Because companies often require you to work with them for a certain amount of time. So you can take, I mean, let's be honest, you can always take the amount of money you invest in your 401k. You can always take that with you. You can roll it over. But if I want my company's match money to be my money, then I have to stay and I have to give a minimum amount of time. And that's different for every company. I don't know what you see in the financial services industry, but what I would see is in corporate America is usually it's like a 2 to 3 year time frame.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
okay.
some, yes, and some companies, I believe the max is 7 years to
Wow,
get the full amount.
that's a
Uh,
long time.
Thank God most companies don't do that, but yeah, like you say, the typical company, it's 2 to 3 years for you to get the full amount. And I absolutely agree. If you have that opportunity at the company that you're working for, please take advantage of it because
Yes.
like you say, it's free money.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't you want to grab that? Um, and even if you decide that the job really isn't for you and you don't want to stay the 3 or however many years that you would need to stay there to get the full amount, at least stay the whatever the minimum is so that you get at least some of that. Because why not? It's
Yeah.
free money.
It is. It's free money. It's money that has been matched according to your contribution. So that's an important thing for me. I encourage people in corporate America not to leave that money on the table. You're working there anyways. You're paying taxes anyways. At least get their match portion and put it in your pocket so you can walk away with it. And then I encourage people to max out other contributions the company makes to you. Um, what sort of education benefits do you have? What sort of learning stipends do you have? Is there a travel stipend? Can you set up a healthcare spending account or a dependent care spending account? Um, so that you can keep more of your money and have it work for you towards actual living expenses. And then the other piece that I encourage people to do is if you always are considering other options outside of the company or other options within the company, is negotiating your pay raises. So if you've done something really well, if you've gotten recognized, don't be afraid to have that conversation of, hey, does this equate to dollars for me? Is there a bonus that you can get? Does the award that you won come with some sort of pay incentive? And that's always great things to look at when you're entertaining moving to a different company, is what kind of perks do they offer their employees?
And that those are some great tips because I know in the early years I certainly didn't have that knowledge
Yeah.
to know that those were things that I could do. And I'm sure that I was way underpaid, except for the fact that I I would either get bored or realize that I had no potential to go anywhere with the
Mhm.
company that I was with, that they were going to keep me in this entry level position, or even when I got a little further up in my career and was at a higher level, still it became clear in a lot of companies that the guy above me was only 5 years older, and I'm looking at that going, what kind of progression is there? I got to wait till he moves on, and the guy in front of him is maybe only 1 or 2 years older than he is. It was just really clear that in some cases there really was nowhere for me to go
Mhm.
except out. Um, so it sounds like you have a great relationship with your money. Did it evolve, or did you always have that great relationship with money?
No, it was definitely an evolution. I came from a normal middle class Midwestern kind of family where it was always tight. Both of my parents worked. So it was something I had to develop. And then when I started working full time instead of going to college full time, that was based on necessity. And it also was where I saw my student loan debt just creeping up every single semester. And I was 2.5 years into my degree, excuse me. And I just knew that if I kept going at this pace, that when I graduated, I'd be in really big trouble. So, excuse me, let me take a sip of something here. So instead of continuing that bad, what I saw going in a bad direction, that debt going in a bad direction, I stopped, I reevaluated what I was doing. And then I figured out, okay, if I can get hired into this company full time, work full time. And I worked for a big Fortune 50 company. It's AT&T now, but it was our
Ah,
local phone company at the time in the late 1990s. And it was a solid job, solid company at that time. And I knew the perks because I had been working with them in a temporary way for a couple of years on like summer breaks and winter breaks.
okay.
So I knew the benefits and perks that were available to me, and I made that trade-off. And then it was actually my tuition reimbursement plan through AT&T that allowed me to finish my undergraduate degree. It took me a long time, Josette, no doubt, but it was definitely worth it because I walked away without the college debt. I was able to pay back my older college debt, be able to pay off my car. And I was able to start my adult life in a much better circumstance than would have been the case had I just continued on my full-time education, part-time work path. And the debt would have been mm, very, very overwhelming, in my opinion.
Agreed. And that is such good advice that people that are like you say that are just starting out need to understand that if you want that college education, there are opportunities to that a lot of companies offer it because they really want people that are skilled and have those degrees and different things. They don't necessarily, you can start, like you say, at entry level and talk to the HR about what my different options are. And that tuition reimbursement is definitely a great way to go so that, like you say, you don't have that college debt hanging over your head. And especially when so many people go into college thinking that they're going to do one thing and then they get there and they're like, oh my God, ooh, this isn't
Ew.
what I thought that would be. Oh no, I got to switch because this is not something that go find a job in that field and see if it is something you like before you take that step and go to college. And I think maybe today there's more people doing that because tuition has kind of gotten out of control.
Yes, college is a huge, huge, huge investment, and it's not always paying off in that entry level job now. And then that makes families nervous, right? The parents that invested in their undergraduate degrees for their children, the kids get out of school and they're like, oh gosh, I can never pay all this back. It feels very overwhelming. And the terms are so different on student loans than when I was in school for my undergrad because I used to leverage my student loan to prepay my tuition for the year. Then I'd take my class and then I'd turn in my reimbursement and I'd get half the money of my course back and then I'd pay down my loan. And so I
Mhm.
would use that process again and again and again. And it worked for me, but now the way the student loan is structured, like for me, it waited until I was done graduating, and now it doesn't wait. You're paying money on it all the time.
Oh, wow.
So yes, I'm grateful that I made the choices I did. I didn't know if they would work out, but I was hopeful. And now what I would tell younger people investing in their education is to piggyback on your advice, is to maybe get a certificate or get a technical degree in something, right? Like, do you want to be a nurse practitioner? Well, I would go to nursing school first, start maybe just an associate's degree nurse, and then work up to your bachelor's degree nurse, because lots of hospitals here in Northeast Ohio will help you pay for that. And
Nice.
then once you have that, you can continue your education. So you can learn and grow in your career, getting more experience while you're getting your education, so that you're not so burdened with the cost of getting educated. And even more technical certifications like coding or
Mm.
reporting or data analytics. There's some software you can learn how to use, like Salesforce is a very in demand skill. So if you go through some of their technical training, and then you might be able to get an entry level job and then continue in that. And that's a great way to go when you're starting out.
That is such helpful advice. So you're talking about investing in your education. Do you actually invest on your money? I don't know, stock market or real estate or anything like that?
Yeah, I have my money in a brokerage account, and I have it managed for me because my money's all rolled in. So I did have a very small pension. I know we're talking about a pension. I have a very small pension from AT&T. When I moved from a union employee to a salaried employee, my pension got frozen.
Ah.
So being a salaried employee made me ineligible at the time. Sad. Um, but then I got to roll that over, and now it's managed for me. And I review that management fund with my financial planner. I think twice a year we meet and we go through it. Where am I at? How am I feeling about it? I don't invest in real estate, and I have a very small, we'll call it a discretionary stock account that I can play with a little bit. Or if I find a stock that seems interesting, I'll buy it, I'll research it. But I try to leave it to the professionals because I don't have much time,
Mm.
and I often get nervous if I think that I have to be the one to control it. I would possibly be more conservative than I intend to be, and of course then my investments wouldn't grow as well as they could if I let the people in the know, people like you, manage it for me.
So, what advice would you have for other women who want to start exploring their financial independence, but maybe they've relied on a partner or even their job for stability, and they're thinking maybe they'd like to go out on their own?
Definitely. I think that they should. My advice would be to try it, learn about it. There's so many people with expansive knowledge. Most financial planners will meet with you initially without any sort of fee, and they'll talk to you about how you view things, what kind of questions you have. They'll answer those for you and then help you make a plan. And you can meet with a few different people and find the person that you vibe with the most, that think has your best interest at heart. And then you can make a plan and start. Definitely start. Don't wait. Don't wait until you're close to retirement. Do it now, wherever you are now. And then your money will work and grow for you later.
That is amazing, and I agree that
Mm.
starting where you are now is really the best choice, because the longer your money has to grow,
Yes.
the more you have when you finally decide, I'm done working. I want to take some time off.
Yeah.
And more and more people are really working on that. Now, I don't know that work-life balance is really the word that I want to use, because that if you love what you do, you're going to keep, you're going to do it as many hours as you want.
Yeah.
But really having the option to say, I think I want to take a month off. Um,
Yes.
and
The
you don't
freedom.
freedom. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that that's more of what people would consider work-life balance now, right? Freedom
Mhm.
to make different choices, to decide that you don't want to work, to take care of kids or grandkids, or to take care of elderly parents. These are the choices that Gen X is being faced with now. And I'm a Gen Xer. So it feels good to have the freedom that I need to take care of my mom or my mother-in-law or somebody else that I care about. That's the real freedom, is to spend your time the way you want, whatever that means for you. And you can use your career and the funds that you make from it to do that. So that's the best piece of it, is you can think about the work you want to do. Is it freelance? Is it working in corporate America? Is it opening your own business? What does that look like to gain that kind of freedom that you want? Because if we didn't have to work, if we all won the lottery and could manage to hold on to that money, right, we probably wouldn't work. That's not going to happen for everybody. So make this plan for yourself, continue to reimagine your life, and then pursue how you can achieve it. And if that means talking with other women, joining a networking group, working with a financial planner, working with a coach, then find the people that you feel comfortable with that will help you get towards your goals and pursue it. That's the advice I would give.
So, and on another kind of tact, does that mean that you believe women should always have their own money, whether
Oh,
they're married or not?
I always believe women should have their own money. There's lots of good people out there, right? And if you're connected with a good partner that will share their money with you, and you're welcome to share with them. But I do believe that you should understand where your money is, understand how to get to it should you need to, be able to get to it should you need to. And anything could happen to any of us at any time. So then what's the plan for your money if you're no longer able to care for yourself? How are you going to be cared for? And then what's your plan for your money after you're gone? Yes, I don't think we should leave these decisions to our partners 100%. I think we need to be involved in the decision making. We probably need to take the charge on the decision making, and then understand how to maintain those decisions, change them if we need to.
Absolutely agree. So, what's next for you?
Oh, goodness. I continue to hope that I can help women make an impact in their career. And I have some speaking engagements coming up where I talk about these different pieces of career planning. And then to supplement my book, which just released earlier this year, then I'm working on a journal slash workbook so that women can track their success and their habits and their network going forward, so that when it's time for a change, they're not scrambling to think, oh goodness, what did I do? Who do I need to get in touch with if I'm thinking about a pivot? Or what were my accomplishments for this last year? Because now my performance review is due and I haven't thought about it for 6, 8, 12 months. So helping people track their success and keeping it at the top of their mind, or at least near their fingertips. So when it's time to talk about it, you feel confident, you have all these successes tracked, and you can say, hey, here's what I did, and not stress about it.
Oh, that would be so helpful. I wish I had something like that when I was coming up, but
Me too.
so if there was one message that you could give to women listening today about owning their own independence, what would it be?
Mm, that is a great question. I think that you first have to recognize that you are independent. You have to take ownership as a piece of defining yourself. I'm an independent, confident woman, whatever sort of mantra or affirmation you could use to reinforce that for yourself. And then when you're making decisions or at a crossroads, asking yourself the question of, does this decision support my independence? and support what I want for myself. And then making your decision aligned with, yes, this decision supports me in that goal and keeps me independent, keeps me responsible, keeps me in control.
So thank you so much for joining us today. And a huge thank you to Annette Garsteck for sharing her wisdom and energy with us. Now, if you found value in this conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the Empowered Money Girl with your friends. The more we spread these stories, the more women we can empower to live boldly, both financially and in every part of your life. Until next time, keep thriving. And remember, your journey to empowerment starts with you.